In looking at this web page critically, the students have now had their input, they've been in discussion, they've been in peer work, they've reviewed, edited, and now they're going to formalize it by peer editing in a system, the Moodle.
The Moodle is basically just like somewhat of a social forum, but for our schools and classes only. So for our class, we have our separate own page, and what it does is we have our own social forum on there, we have our own homework forum on there. It's basically everything that we do in class online.
I'd like, as we watch this clip, for us to be thinking how this Moodle work affected our learning, our understanding of how we become writers, and how other people read our writing. Let's see it now.
I'm going to invite you to our Moodle site in order to post your letters to the editor. I just want you to be sure that you know where to find this part. On our Moodle website, in the homework forum, there's a specific area there, feedback for the web page, that you're going to post your responses to. Now within that site, this is the template I was mentioning to you that you might want to refer to. You can click on the message I have in there. And here are the basic components to help you write your review. 1, begin with Dear Editor-in-Chief. That's who you're addressing this letter to. Number 2, introduce yourself. End by stating your appreciation for the opportunity to review their website. And finally, you might want to think about inviting responses from the editor via my email address. Okay? After all the reviews have been posted, or if you finish yours early, look for a peers. Make sure they haven't had a response on it, and peer edit one of your friends' responses.
The template really helps because sometimes you forget what the teacher said. Not that you want to listen, you just forgot, and then that one really helps me to guide and focus. Okay, because sometimes if I have no idea what to do, I just wander off. Yeah, it just helps me also for organizing, not just for doing the work, but even organizing the work. Yeah, what to do first, second, third. Yeah.
We're writing our descriptive feedback to the editor-in-chief of the human rights page, and the template really helps us because if we forget what the teacher has told us, we can easily just look back at the template and know how to respond to it and fix everything up.
The template is really important to guide you and guide your thoughts, but still, if you really want to give your own opinion and you really want to say what you're saying, not be a robot, you've got to still, you can blur the lines a bit and really just list your opinions.
Using the template, I just finished writing my review on the webpage, and I have self-edited it so it makes it sound more formal. So now I'm going to peer edit one of my classmates' review because I think it is important that we give each other feedback so our letter is more effective and the website's editor-in-chief can look at it.
Because, well, the thing is, even if you edit, you might not find a mistake, or you might say, oh, it's probably correct. But then your class might have a different point of view if it's right or wrong.
Well, I'm just editing one of my peers' works, my friend Amy, and I think it's really important that doing editing and peer evaluation is really important because not only does it give you a second eye to read it, it gives you it can give more ideas to the person when someone gives feedback, it can tell them how to enhance the writing, how to make it better. When I go through someone else's work, I really just kind of always look for the ideas, how strong they are, how much detail is behind it, what they kind of are reflecting to. So I would, if something's just kind of off, then I would kind of reply that this doesn't really belong there, but you can put something in this in there to make the whole paragraph kind of stronger and make it that much better. You should always put in positive feedback just so they know that the writing is good, but you shouldn't say it as a negative.
I'd like to have you share your work and discuss the editing you received from your peer. So if we can start with June to do that, that would be great.
My name is June, and I am a grade 8 student in Westminster Public School. I am writing this letter to give feedback on your new webpage about human rights and responsibilities. To begin, I would like to state the positive parts of your website. For example, I like how there are many different magazines such as Education for All, and in those magazines there are many different videos, pictures, and articles. Furthermore, I have some recommendations that I think will help your website be even more effective. First of all, I think that the homepage can be revised. To explain, the magazines are listed in one box except for one. Overall, I like how there are cartoons, videos, and articles that explain the main message, human rights and responsibilities. These types of media make it really engaging for the viewers. However, I wish that there would be a social forum where people can ask questions and post comments.
And June, can you go through and see the reply from your peer?
This is the feedback that my classmate Alex has given me for my letter. I think that the feedback he gave me about the spelling capital errors, it is important because if you want an editor to read it, you want to make sure that it's not full of errors.
The comments that we can't like reply or comment on anything on the website, that actually made me feel like, oh, okay, they're kind of silencing our voices. Or yeah.
Having that prior background knowledge about missing voices?
Speaking for all of us here, we all like to talk. So especially when in a site as good as that, when we learn so much new things, and if we can share it with our classroom, that's great. But with a social forum, we'd be able to talk about it with many different people around the world, which is even better. So if the social forum was there, like that's why we were kind of obsessing over that a little, because of all of what we learned about not silencing our voices.
Mm-hmm. And how many of you found that you were questioning parts of the website, asking certain questions based on, again, maybe some of the background knowledge of missing voices, what you were looking for in the website, given that it's a website about human rights? Were there any questions you were asking yourself?
Yeah, sort of the aspect of missing voices changed a bit of my perspective about it. And like, especially something like human rights, which has a lot of missing voice in it, I sort of tried to pinpoint what they were missing.
So I noticed there was an example of how to use the Moodle with a letter to the editor. Did that help?
I think by seeing a peer's work on the screen and the fact that you're able to give feedback on that showed that, like, one of your peers, they have a voice. So when you see it on the screen, then other people are allowed to comment on it and to work with that piece.
And did you find that helpful, Dan?
Yes, because, for example, something Danny said previously was that you want to make sure you word things properly so your voice gets out better. This is what it helps it. You get a second person to hear it, and you might see a different perspective, and you might be a little more conscious about what you said.
And how does this help you as a writer? How does that help you revise?
Well, as a writer with one person and as one mind, for you, what you write could be amazing to you because you wrote it. But when you get another person's opinion on it, it can become stronger because you have the review of it. So even the smallest flaw that could throw someone off could be changed to make it phenomenal instead of amazing and make it flawless.
It can be changed in a split second too, can't it, without lots and lots of work?
And we also had peer editing in there too. So after you finish writing your own piece, a peer edits yours. And there's always descriptive feedback, so the good and the bad. So maybe you can fix your wording here. So getting another person's perspective makes your writing look that much more stronger.
How did it give you voice, this project? Or did it?
We each did a separate letter based on our personal ideas. And what was really amazing is that she took the time to read each one, and she responded to the specific comments. For example, if I give her critique, I thought that there should be a comment page, she put her own input and said why, if it would be practical, and how I respect that idea.
And do you feel this kind of freeing of the voice is a useful thing for grade 7 and 8s?
Yes, because a lot of the time we're going into the age of us finding our own group or our own mindset, and being able to express yourself in the way that you want to be really shows who you are. And in something like this where someone says, you know what, I'm going to take the stand and say, I think that music in the background will be a good idea, and I'm going to stick up for myself and say that, yeah, it is.
So which of the points in her letter back to you referenced your own point that you made to her?
The letter wasn't just like, oh, thank you for your feedback. It wasn't that. It was, we wrote like 23 letters, right? And it takes a long while to read all of them. But we all had similar ideas of what we thought was really effective and what we thought could have been improved on. So the editor took that into consideration and wrote back a thoughtful letter, and we all agreed with her points because, you know, on the internet you have to be careful of what you say and who says it, and you don't want to offend anybody. So on that website you have to have somebody who monitors these comments, which takes a lot of time and effort.
It does. And have you seen the website in action yet?
After we wrote the letter, they said, at the end, as a conclusion, they said, we have now made several changes to the website, and we took a look at that, and we did see some changes, and there was some of the things that we said actually got into consideration, and they actually put it on places, yes.
And how you portrayed them.
Yeah, and also Dr. Williams said that, like, we're going to need a new group of, like, a new generation of problem solvers, and that's what we're, like, expected to be. So yes, our voices are important. We're going to be the future adults. Plus, we have this position that we're comfortable with the new technology and the generation and what's going on.